مرحوم کا نام محمد ساجد رضا تھا، ٹھیک ہے، لیکن میں نے اپنی شعری ضرورت کے تحت محمد کو بعد میں کر لیا ہے، اور یہ ترکیب عام ہے، ایسی کوئی ایک دفعہ ضرور بھیج دیجیے محمد عالم۔ کچھ اس نظم ہے: دل کیوں نہ بیٹھ جائے آنسو نہ کیوں رواں ہوں، دل کیوں نہ بیٹھ جائے آنسو نہ کیوں رواں ہوں، اٹھے جہاں سے ہائے ساجد رضا محمد، اٹھے جہاں سے ہائے ساجد۔ ایک شور ہاؤ ہو ہے بزم ہنر وراں میں، ایک شور ہاؤ ہو ہے بزم ہنر وراں میں، گم ہو گئی صدائے ساجد رضا محمد، ایک شور ہاؤ ہو ہے بزم ہنر وراں میں، گم ہو گئی صدائے ساجد رضا محمد۔ ناقدر دانیوں کی شاید یہی سزا تھی، اسی دفعہ آئے تھے، ناقدر دانیوں کی شاید یہی سزا تھی، تشریف پھر نہ لائے ساجد رضا محمد، ناقدر دانیوں کی شاید یہی سزا تھی، تشریف پھر نہ لائے ساجد رضا محمد۔ اور احباب و اقربا میں برپا ہے شور گریا، احباب و اقربا میں برپا ہے شور گریا، خاموش ہے نوائے ساجد رضا، احباب و اقربا میں برپا ہے شور گریا، خاموش ہے نوائے ساجد رضا محمد۔ اور صدقے میں پنجے تن کے امید ہے خدا سے، صدقے میں پنجے تن کے امید ہے خدا سے، بخشے گا ہر خطائے ساجد رضا محمد۔ اور مومن کا بعد مردن ہے قرض مومنوں پر، مومن کا بعد مردن ہے قرض مومنوں پر، ایک فاتحہ برائے ساجد رضا محمد، مومن کا بعد مردن ہے قرض مومنوں پر، ایک فاتحہ برائے ساجد رضا محمد۔ اور کیجئے شہاب سیے تلقین صبر کیوں کر، کیجئے شہاب سیے تلقین صبر کیوں کر، لب پر ہے ہائے ہائے ساجد رضا محمد۔ درود بھیج دیجئے، اور ایک ان کے لیے ایک فاتحہ کی زحمت فرما لیجئے۔ اللہم تین شعر جناب زہرا کے کا یہ قطعہ سا سمجھ لیجیے اسے: درِ بنت پیمبر پر جو اپنا سر جھکاتے ہیں، درِ بنت پیمبر پر علی ان خاکساروں کو فلک آسا بناتے ہیں، درِ بنت پیمبر پر جو اپنا سر جھکاتے ہیں، علی ان خاکساروں کو فلک آسا بناتے ہیں۔ اور بہت انمول ہے خاکستر دروازہ زہرا، بہت انمول ہے خاکستر دروازہ زہرا، کہ اس کو گوندھ کر اہل فلک تارے بناتے ہیں، بہت انمول ہے خاکستر دروازۂ زہرا، کہ اس کو گوندھ کر اہل فلک تارے بناتے ہیں، اور ہمیں سننے کو خاتون جنا آتی ہیں مجلس میں، ہمیں سننے کو خاتون جنا آتی ہیں مجلس میں۔ آپ کی طرف خطاب نہیں ہے، ہمیں سننے کو خاتون جنا آتی ہیں محفل میں، یہ مولانا ہمیں نعرے جہنم سے ڈراتے، ہمیں سننے کو خاتون، آپ سے خطاب ہے، ہمیں سننے کو خاتون جنا آتی ہیں محفل میں، یہ مولانا ہمیں نعرے جہنم سے ڈراتے ہیں۔ سلام کے چند شعر۔ خم تیری چوکھٹ پہ جو بنت پیمبر ہو گیا، خم تیری چوکھٹ پہ جو بنت پیمبر ہو گیا، عظمت کردار کا معیار وہ سر ہو گیا، خم تیری چوکھٹ پہ جو بنت پیمبر ہو گیا، کردار کا معیار وہ سر ہو گیا، اور معدن اوصاف زہرا سے گزر کر ایک بار، کیا دیکھیے، معدن اوصاف زہرا سے گزر کر ایک بار، جو سخن بھی کان تک آیا وہ گوہر ہو، معدن اوصاف زہرا سے گزر کر ایک بار، جو سخن بھی کان تک آیا وہ گوہر ہو گیا۔ اور شعر دیکھیے کہ لے گیا ہاتھوں سے جب پتوار سیلاب بلا، یا ہاتھوں سے جب پتوار، نام زہرا ڈوبتی کشتی کا لنگر ہو گیا، لے گیا ہاتھوں سے جب پتوار سیلاب بلا، نام زہرا ڈوبتی کشتی کا لنگر ہو گیا، اور مشتری اس کی ہوئیں جب حشر میں بنت رسول، مشتری اس کی ہوئیں جب حشر میں بنت رسول، مول ایک اشک عذاب میں خلد کا گھر ہو گیا، مول ایک اشک عذاب کا خلد میں گھر ہو گیا، اور آتے جاتے جس کو کرتے تھے رسول حق سلام، آتے جاتے جس کو کرتے تھے رسول حق سلام، سانس لینا باد مرسل اس کو دوبھر، سانس لینا باد مرسل اس کو دوبھر ہو گیا، اور جس نے ایک مصرع بھی لکھا شان شایان بطول، جس نے ایک مصرع بھی لکھا شان شایان بطول، اس کے مستقبل کا ہر گوشہ منور، جس نے ایک مصرع بھی لکھا شان شایان بطول، اس کے مستقبل کا ہر گوشہ، اور اس کی بخشش کا کوئی امکان ہو سکتا نہیں، اس کی بخشش کا کوئی امکان ہو سکتا نہیں، جس سے پل بھر بھی دل زہرا مقدر ہو گیا، اس کی بخشش کا کوئی امکان ہو سکتا نہیں، جس سے پل بھر بھی دل زہرا، اور جس نے ڈھایا ہے مزار دختر خیر الانام، جس نے ڈھایا ہے مزار دختر خیر الانام، بند اس پر جنت فردوس کا در، جس نے ڈھایا ہے مزار دختر خیر الانام، بند اس پر جنت الفردوس کا در ہو گیا، اور کیا بیاں ہوگی کسی سے اس کی حد اختیار، کیا بیاں ہوگی کسی سے اس کی حد اختیار، جس کے فرزندوں میں عباس دلاور، کیا بیاں ہوگی کسی سے اس کی حد اختیار، جس کے فرزندوں میں عباس दिलावर हो गया और मध्य ज़हरा के सिवा मुझ में हुनर क्या था शिहाब। मध्य ज़हरा के सिवा मुझ में हुनर क्या था शिहाब, किस लिए मुश्ताक मेरा हौज़े कौसर। मध्य ज़हरा के सिवा मुझ में हुनर क्या था शिहाब, किस लिए मुश्ताक मेरा हौज़े कौसर हो गया। शुक्रिया, हुस्न समान, शुक्रिया।
नारे सलवात। So the program will continue tomorrow night. There is majlis here. We'll start with namaz Isha at 7:45. Please recite Surah Fatiha for marhum father of Brother Wali Haidri, his name was Sayyid Raza Haidri, and also for Sohail Raza and Mirza Masood Agha. Please also recite Surah Fatiha for Kaniz Abed. So Maulana Sartaj has taken a lot of efforts over the last over 30 years to make sure that the message from the Mimbar is very clear about our aqaid. So I think we are very careful in the respect of our Maulanas and our ulamas and our marajeh. So we are very careful in selection, and very, very fortunate that Maulana Sir Jafri has been blessing us with these majalis. Salawat.
May I also request all of you for a Surah Fatiha for your marhumin and for mine and for the Shuhada of Islam and for these four names that I have in front of me. Sayyid Muhammad Saeed Abdi, Sayyid Mahdi Hassan Zaidi, Sayyida Khuzur Begum, Sayyida Qaisari Begum. Fatiha. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. If I may also request those parents who brought their children to please make sure they're sitting beside you, inshallah. And those kids that brought their parents to also make sure they're sitting beside you as well, inshallah. You'll be surprised how many kids bring their parents to these majalises. You'll be surprised. Sorry? There's basketball tonight at 11 o'clock at Hype Athletics afterwards. If you don't want to be beaten at basketball by me, don't show up, please. If you bring your A game, I'll bring my C game. Inshallah, it'll be a fair competition, inshallah. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. One more request, if I can, from now. If you can please move a little bit to my left and a little bit forward, then that would be great, please. With one loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad, please. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي لا يبلغ مدحته القائلون ولا يحصي نعماءه العادون ولا يؤدي حقه المجتحدون الذي لا يدركه بعد الحمم ولا يناله غوص الفطن ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا وشفيع ذنوبنا سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد وآل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين صاحب العصر والزمان خليفة الرحمن إمام الإنس والجان ولعن الله وعداهم أجمعين إلى يوم الدين أما بعد فقد قال الله وقوله الحق بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات لندخلنهم في الصالحين صلوا على محمد وآل محمد The need for complete submission has been our topic since yesterday. Tonight is lecture number 2. As a recap, last night we talked about using a verse from Surah Hadid as our base, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is posing a question to all of us, that أَلَمْ يَعْنِ لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَن تَخْشَعَ قُلُوبَهُمْ لِذِكْرِ اللَّهِ صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. One more last salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad, please. And he poses a question in Surah Hadid that says that when will that time come? Has that time not yet come? The people who believe to have khushu in their hearts for the dhikr of Allah. And we use that as a base to kind of propel our discussion towards the concept of absolute and complete submission to Allah. Ala kulli hal, in every state, in every situation, we submit to Allah. We don't put conditions. We don't put options on the table. The moment that we accept Allah to be our ma'bud, everything after that is complete submission. And we talked about the fact that sometimes why is it that we don't submit to Allah, and there are reasons for that. And I addressed, of course, well, all of you, of course, remember the steak example from yesterday. If you're wondering, I have yet to have steak all day today. Adnan Bhai mentioned to me at his majlis that his wife makes good steak. That's all he said. And I said to him that Adnan Bhai, this is the world of amal, mashallah. Well, if that salawat was for me or for the steak, I have no idea. But khair, inshallah. In the amal, inshallah. Yeah. You don't get the steak, I get the steak. Don't worry, yeah, I know what you're trying to achieve. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. And I mentioned that the presentation of the deen to our youth has been not the best, so they don't see the benefits of submitting to Allah in totality. Now, one clarification from last night that, alhamdulillah, I love feedback, and today in the daytime I got some feedback from a youth, alhamdulillah, who said that, you mentioned this idea that al-Islam huwa al-taslim huwa al-yaqeen, yesterday's discussion about the idea that Islam is submission, and submission is certainty. But is it not the case, he asked, and a very brilliant question, is it not the case that we need to believe in Allah with yaqeen first to submit to Him? And what I did not make clear yesterday, and it was my mistake, that I'm talking about that phase once we've identified La ilaha illallah. Before that, yes, absolutely. We believe that the essence of Tawheed is to understand Tawheed at the aqli level. It has to be proven to you at the logical level. That's why we have taqleed that's haram for us when it comes to the usul-din. We don't believe in Allah because our mother just says so. We believe in Allah because all the burhan, all the proofs are there. Both aqli and naqli proofs are there for us to believe. And once we've identified La ilaha illallah, that's why in the kalama, in the shahada, there's first negation, then acceptance. There's La ilah, La ilah, La ilah, all the idols, all those small G gods, the ilah, ilah are all gone. Once those are all gone, we've accepted what? Illallah. Anyone who's worthy of my worship and my submission, it's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's based on the intellect, and that's based on certainty. I have to have complete yaqeen to Allah. But once I enter that bubble, that realm of Allah's tawheed, at that moment then it's not a prerequisite for you to know why you're doing it. It's enough to know that your ma'bud has commanded you to do so. And that was the point that I tried to make yesterday. In moving forward today, in talking about this idea of building a culture of submission around us. You see, we have to remind ourselves of certain realities because we live in a society that promotes one type of message and the deen promotes another type of message. Not always, not in everything. There are some times that actually are mushtarak between the two. But one area that this society really brings home to our youth and to all of you really respectively is the concept of the individual, That you are to be worried about yourself. You're number one, as they say. To each his own, as they say. Right? What the person beside you is doing is none of your business. You don't have to worry about the person beside you. What your neighbor is doing, what the person beside you is doing, what the mu'min sitting beside you right now, how he's like, how she's like, how her life is like, what he does at home, doesn't matter to you. Don't worry about it. You worry about you and Allah. And we've taken on this individualism aspect from the West very, very seriously, especially our youth. Our youth are surrounded by individuals, good friends of theirs, childhood friends of theirs, that they know what they're doing is destructive towards their faith, but the culture isn't there to say anything. In fact, they'll say, well, that's between him and his Lord. Whereas the deen says that you're not an individual, you're an ummah, you're a nation, you're a family. You're a body, the Holy Prophet says. If one portion of the body hurts, all the other parts come and rescue that from its pain. It's not that the leg says to the hand, oh, you're broken, good for you. Or the heart says to the brain, oh, you're damaged, good for you. When the entire body, or let's say you have one symptom of sickness, the entire body shuts down sometimes. Because it knows that every intricate detail of its body is affected and is completely reliant on the sihat and the health of every other part. The Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he has a very beautiful analogy. And I'm getting to my content in a moment. He has a very beautiful analogy. He says that, I want you to imagine that you are on a boat with other individuals. And that boat is in the middle of the ocean, the deepest part of the ocean. And halfway through this journey on the boat, there's a man on the boat who has an axe in his hand. In the corner of the boat, he begins to hack a hole inside the boat. Now you have two options, right? You can look at him and say, oh, okay, he's hacking a hole in the boat. Good for him. And you move away. That's him, mind your own business. Or you could say, what are you doing? If that hole gets bigger, the water gets in, the boat sinks, and we sink with it. And the Prophet says that this boat is Islam, and the people on that boat are the Muslims, are the mu'mineen. If one person is taking an axe to the deen and trying to destroy the deen, we can't just walk away and say, oh, okay, that's his problem. Everyone on the boat is affected. Everybody in the deen is affected. The Holy Prophet, and by extension the Ahlul Bayt, came to introduce a communal deen to us, not an individual deen for us. Look at Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salatu wa salam. Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. There's a book called the Misbah al-Sharia, Lantern of the Path, very thin book, purple, that's translated into English. The very first discussion in that book is on ubudiyat. And in there he talks about the fact that if anybody wishes to tread the path of ubudiyat, they have to look at 4 different relationships. 4 different relationships. Not 1, 4. He says the first one obviously is between him and Allah. And each relation has 7 different principles. And by the way, this book is available online in English, well translated. If you Google that, you'll find the PDF online. Within every relationship, there are 7 different principles. It's very, very deep. The first one, he says, you and Allah. That's number 1. Number 2, he says, you and this dunya. Examine that relationship. Do you see the dunya as a wasila or as a maqsad? As the avenue towards your destination or the destination itself? Number 3, he says, between you and your a'mal, between you and your deeds, how do you see your deeds? You actually believe that you've done enough, and the amount that you do is enough for you to get into Jannah? Or is there a constant need for you to improve yourself? And the final one, he says, is that you have to examine the connection between you and others as well. Sometimes people like me believe that as long as me and Allah are good, doesn't matter how mean others are. As long as me and Allah are good, I'm praying my salat, I'm doing my wajibat, I'm wearing my hijab, I'm doing everything, I'm paying my khums. Doesn't matter if me and my family don't get along. Doesn't matter if I'm not part of my community. Doesn't matter, let's say, if me and my sister haven't spoken to in months. Doesn't matter if my wife has constant complaints about me. Doesn't matter. Me and Allah are good. Right? That's all that matters. How many times have we seen mu'min individuals, or on the outside, mashallah, nice thick beard, a zakhmi nishani on their forehead, sujood upon sujood. You talk to their household, and they say he's a zalim inside the household. But mashallah, you can tell that he is doing ibadat. Imam Sadiq is saying it's not just about you and Allah. It's 4 different relationships about ubudiyat. One of them is you and others. And so we have to accept, especially my youth, we have to accept that this deen and this movement is a communal movement. That we are not individuals who walk past a drowning individual and say, oh, look at him, he's drowning, thank God I know how to swim. And you move on. No. Or this idea that I know, Mullah, that what she does on social media is haram, but who am I to say anything? How could I say anything? Because we're fearful that if I say something to this brother, then of course they'll turn out and call me out for everything that I've done as well. So to avoid that awkwardness, I leave it alone. And what we've done is that we've taken this communal deen, this ummah of a deen, and we've broken it down into individual pieces. Individual pieces. And this world and this deen and this spirituality sometimes is so difficult that we need to have this communal effort to do it together. If the Prophet of Allah himself is saying, Ya ilahi, la takilni illa nafsi tarafata aynin abada. Oh Allah, don't leave me to the disposal of myself. Meaning, don't leave me alone for a blink of an eye. I mean, don't let me decide for myself anything. I need that constant guidance around us. Be it in the form of Allah, be it the form of the ulama, or be it the form of each other around us. We have to develop or redevelop a culture where we actually worry about the grave of the person beside me like I worry about my own grave. And that culture isn't there, especially amongst our youth. And part of the process of developing a culture of complete submission is surrounding yourself with the proper people that pull you towards that submission. This discussion on the circle of influence is such an important discussion. Surrounding yourself with the right people, the like-minded people, where hadith says that when you are in their presence, they remind you of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not that you sit around in a circle and read tasbih all night. No, I'm not saying that. But I'm saying at least they are the voice of consciousness inside when you're around them. Some of you in this room have amazing friends, That Mullah, the moment that I go a little bit this way, they pull me back. Some of you are in destructive friendships right now. And some of you have had the patience to walk away from that destruction. Others right now as I speak, are going through that destruction as we speak. And I don't have the courage to walk away, Mulana. I'm worried about isolation, ostracization. I'm worried about them name calling me. I'm worried about bullying. I'm worried about social media. All these things. So literally you have a youth, when they're by themselves, they're amazing, pious individuals. When they're surrounded by their friends, you can't recognize them. I've literally sat with individuals, and when I have a one-on-one talk, I'm amazed by their God awareness, amazed by their piety. I can't believe it's the same kid that when others are around him, he becomes somebody else. And tonight's discussion will be about the circle of influence. To ensure that my youth, and especially my elders, it's important that as a family unit, as the leaders of the family, as my husbands and fathers in the audience, all of you are the wali inside your home. You have that wilayat. But that wilayat comes with a huge responsibility. Right? قُوا أَنفُسِكُمْ وَأَهْلِيكُمْ نَارًا. You have to protect yourself and your families from the fire. Not just the fire in that world, the fire in this world as well. And that's up to the father. Yes, we enjoy the walayat, oh Malana, I am the wali, I'm the leader, this and that. Yes, but we don't take that responsibility. But you are responsible for leading your family into Jannah. MashaAllah, I know fathers who go to Karbala every single year. Every single year they go. Ashura, the Arba'in walk, every single year. You talk to the wife, Malana, he never takes me. They've gone to 7 hajjs. The wife has not gone to 1. Why don't you take your wife? Malana, she slows me down, Malana. I have to feed her. I have to shop for her. She walks slow, Malana. Tawaf takes 3 hours, Malana. It ruins my ibadat, Malana. That's not individual, that's all individual. It's not, it's collective units. And I'll present to you verses from the Quran that are amazing. It's amazing how Allah has taken this issue of the circle of influence as His personal responsibility. As His personal responsibility. And look at the juz'iyat that is there in the Quran. You know, we think that Quran, it's amazing how sometimes you would think that, and this is, I don't mean to be, people who create this doubt in your mind, but sometimes you would think that those things that require very, intensive discussion inside the Quran, is it there? And those things that maybe don't require so much are there. For example, salat. It is one of the pillars of the deen, the very first furu' al-deen. Nothing will be accepted if your salat isn't accepted. But it is a kulli discussion in the Quran. There's no discussion of fajr inside of the Quran, nothing about how much rak'ats, nothing about what dhikr to do in ruku and sujood. All of that comes in hadith. But yet other aspects that maybe don't require such a intensive discussion, there are intricate details that Allah includes. And one of them is this discussion on the circle of influence, on those people that you surround yourself with. My fathers in the audience, it's imperative that when you attach other families to your family, that you look at their values, that you look at what can it be that they can help my daughter with, my wife with, me with. I see families sometimes who are pious, muttaqi, who are really trying to fight the fight to keep their deen above water, but they end up spending their social time with families who don't care about the deen. A lot of times, and I don't mean to break up friendships or families tonight, I don't. I do mean to say that let's take this seriously. Many of you are out there trying to be Captain Islam and save the world, and save others from drowning. But sometimes what ends up happening is that we end up drowning ourselves. So you have your daughter, who mashallah, you've worked very hard to become muhajjaba. She's muhajjaba, mashallah, but you surround yourself with people around you that every single week you guys get together and their daughter doesn't wear hijab. Doesn't wear hijab, ooh, social media, she's out there, mashallah. And now you're expecting your muhajjaba daughter to fight this urge to talk about hairstyles and lipstick shades and this and that. And that's a very tough thing to do. So this discussion isn't just about our youth. But the majority of the problem is our youth. A lot of you guys surround yourself with people you shouldn't be around. And it all comes down to the point that you're worried about isolation. This need to belong to something is very, very important. I tell often families that I go counsel sometimes in Toronto that look, if you want to keep your child inside of your home, meaning he likes to actually be home, then make him feel like he belongs inside the home. Doesn't mean give him his own room and give him his own TV. No, belonging means that his voice is heard inside the home. You know how many times kids complain to me that, Malana, I speak to my father, he shushes me. He wishes me away. Don't the bachio, stop talking. It's none of your business. He's 17, 18 years old. And the funny thing is that Allah Himself is saying that this 15-year-old is baligh in the eyes of Allah. is accountable in the eyes of Allah. That everything this young man does, he'll be held accountable. 15 years old, but to us, a 15-year-old is a kid. Go from here. And after a while, when he feels like he's being quieted and silenced and not heard inside of the home, then he'll search outside the home for that sense of belonging. That sense of belonging. This tribal atmosphere, this tribal fitri need that we have to belong to something, sometimes is so strong that we'll actually attach ourselves to groups that we know are bad news, but you know what, Mulana? They're my brothers. They're my sisters. They're there for me when I need them. Yes, they listen to music. Yes, they smoke. Yes, they don't care about salat. I know all that. But you know what? If I call them at 3 a.m., they're there for me at 3 a.m. And they make me feel like I belong to them. So the need for belonging, and the Quran talks about the idea, وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلَ لِتَعَارَفُوا. We're the ones that placed you in nations and tribes. I mean, it's fitri for you to attach yourself to people who make you feel like you belong to them, who are like-minded like you. I'll give you an example. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. You know, in my time in Qom, when we learned Farsi, you first arrive in Qom and you learn Farsi. You go to a linguistic school and they spend 6-7 months learning Farsi, teaching you Farsi. And of course, it's a non-Iranian school. There's 50 plus countries there represented. And they would purposely make sure that the classrooms that you're in, the majority of the people in that class aren't from your country. Because you won't learn Farsi. Right? You'll teach the teacher English. That's what ends up happening. And so I remember in my classroom, we'd have 12 individuals, let's say, from 12 different countries. So you're forced to converse in Farsi. After a class, we have a 10-minute break. We would go downstairs, there's a little shop there. It's amazing to see as the students would come down the stairs into the student lounge area, they would seek those of their people from their own country. And they would gravitate towards them. So all the Pakistanis would walk towards one corner. All of the English speakers, you know, us Canadians, the Americans, the English guys will all speak towards one corner, okay? All of the Lebanese guys in one corner, all of the Russians in one corner, all the Chinese in one, everybody. And you would see that, you know, as hard as they try to make sure don't mingle with people from your country, you can't stop that fitri need to attach yourself to those people who make you feel like you belong to them. A lot of times, youth, your children, belong to circles that are destructive for them. But that circle makes them feel like they belong to them. And the belonging is so strong inside of you that you'll look over all of the satanic and shaitanic actions that they do. I know, Mulana, I know, Mulana, I know, buts, I know, buts, I know, buts. And after a while, what ends up happening is that you become like them. And the verse I read for you in the khutbah from Surah Ankabut is a clear verse where Allah says, it's my responsibility to ensure that I help you find those people that will help you build your iman. Surah Ankabut is a Makki surah. Follow me in a little bit of history, inshallah. Makki surah, and it is related. This verse is revealed near the later years of his Meccan mission, the Holy Prophet. And as you know, his last few years in Mecca were very difficult for the Holy Prophet. Shibba Abu Talib, his eventual migration, plots to kill him, all these things were very difficult. You know that the two groups that attracted themselves to the Holy Prophet immediately were the poor and the young. And so when this verse was revealed, before this verse was revealed, the verse says what? إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ لَنُدْخِلَنَّهُمْ فِي الصَّالِحِينَ. That for those of you, surely those who have iman and those who do amal salih, we will place you amongst the salihin. Now let's try to understand the context of this verse. They were young people who spent their entire life in Mecca. The call to Islam happened. Some youth went to the Holy Prophet, others didn't. Those who went to the Holy Prophet stuck with the Holy Prophet throughout his entire Meccan mission. Near the end of his Meccan mission, the 13 years in Mecca, when this movement came to banish the group of Islam out of Mecca, they were all banished to an outskirt area called Shibli Abu Talib. Very, very difficult conditions there. Tafsir says that a group of youth approached the Holy Prophet during these very difficult times. And they say, Ya Rasulullah, we had childhood friends in Mecca. Guys we grew up with. Guys that we would play in the streets of Mecca with. We had tawfiq to say labbaik to your call. They didn't. But we miss them. They're childhood friends. We have a place in our heart for them. But they are amongst the mushrikeen. What do we do about this? Do we go back and do we somehow, become their friends? And then this verse was revealed. And the verse is very critical to understand. That the ayat says, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. For those now who have iman and do amal salih. It's very, very crucial. You understand the initial portion of this verse. These are people who are the mu'mineen, people who do good work. For those types of people, Allah says, لِنُدْخِلَنَّهُمْ فِي الصَّالِحِينَ. Meaning, He's telling the Holy Prophet, tell these young guys who missed their Meccan, mushriki friends, that I will find the salihin for you. I will find friends for you. The one condition you have to promise me is إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. You don't give up your principles. You don't sell your soul out. You don't go Friday nights where you know you shouldn't go. You are better than that. You were raised better than that. More is expected from you. You come from a very respected family. Your parents worked too hard to build your taqwa for you to give it all away on a Friday night because those guys make you feel like you belong. And you stop and you think, you know what, if I leave these guys, Malana, where will I go? Allah says, I will take care of your friends for you. I will take care of your friends for you. I will introduce you to people. I'll make you find people that you never thought could be your friend. I've seen this guy in the center for 10, 15 years. Now all of a sudden, him and I are boys. We're close. I never thought in a million years that my personality and his would match. But somehow, people who are on the path of taqwa, they find each other. They find each other. Ask yourself, my youth out there, you've taken a bold step to remove yourself from a destructive friendship. The next step is that Allah somehow now has opened the door for a constructive friendship. I mean, me growing up in Toronto, I would go from circle to circle to circle to circle, and every circle I thought, whoa, these guys are my family. Ride together, die together. Right? These are my boys. And after a while you think, not that I think that I'm better, no, after a while you think, I'm looking for more. So sometimes, the group would fall apart. And now, I often say now, after many, many years of many, many circle hopping, I've come to have a core circle of friends that I have right now in Toronto who are my age, and when I'm with them, alhamdulillah, things are amazing. And yes, we sit together and we watch Super Bowl together, for example, right? It's not always hadith, hadith, hadith. It doesn't. It's not always, okay, here we go again. Not always, no. Sometimes it's this idea that, like I said, when we steer off the path, they pull you back onto the path. But you have to not give up the sources of your iman. Inna alladhina amanu wa amilu salihat. That's a condition. If you hold on to your iman, if you say, look guys, I'm good where I am, you guys go and you do your thing on Friday night, I'm okay. When you guys get together to eat or grab a coffee, call me, I'll meet you there. Khalas. Initially they'll say, oh, this, that, they'll call you soft, they'll call you weak, they'll call you this, whatever word you guys use nowadays. After a while, they have respect for you, and then eventually, either they'll change or they'll let you walk away. It's not worth your iman. Ask yourself, am I somebody different when I'm by myself? Do I feel relieved when I'm by myself? Or do I live a double life when I'm with these individuals? Well, now I'm asked to dress a certain way, talk a certain way, eat a certain food, use certain words, listen to certain music that I would never do by myself. But the fear is, please don't kick me out of this group. This is my tribe. This is my tribe, my fitri tribe. And the fear is that if I don't have this tribe, I have nothing. Allah says, no. If you hold on to your principles, I will take the responsibility of your friendship. I will place you. لِنُدْخِلَنَّهُمْ فِي الصَّالِحِينَ صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. Try to understand. That's why your parents are so obsessed with meeting your friends. And you can't stand it. Oh God, don't come downstairs, Mom, please. It's embarrassing. But they want to find out. Take your interview. Where are you from? What are your parents? Oh, we're Muslim. What are you? What do you eat? What do you guys do? This and that. There's a reason for that because they understand the power of friendship is so strong. They want to make sure at 18, 19, 21, you're surrounded with a strong influence. Because another verse in the Quran, this one is very dangerous. Very dangerous. The effect of a wrong friendship, the Quran talks. Look at the juz'i discussion I'm talking about when it comes to friendship. Look, the Quran could say, look, make sure you choose good friends. No. Allah says, I will personally, لِنُدْخِلَنَّهُمْ فِي الصَّالِحِينَ. I will surely place you amongst Salihin. This verse now describes those people who are about to enter the hellfire. I forget the surah. About to enter the hellfire. And the Quran now, it's almost as if they're reporting, words they're saying to themselves. And they say to themselves, Ya waylana, Ya waylati lam attakhiz fulanan khalila. That when they're asked, what is it that brought you to the brink of the hellfire? The only complaint they had in this dunya, the one thing that they could think of why I'm in this state, is that if only, woe unto me, meaning I messed up, if only I didn't take fulanan as my friend. Look at this powerful verse. You could blame the West, you can blame bad parenting, you can blame the fact that this and that, if I was in Iran, if I was in an Islamic environment, I would be different. Any sort of excuses. The one excuse, lam attakhiz fulanan khalila. If I never took this friend as a friend, I wouldn't be on the brink of the hellfire. Of all the things to complain about, the inmates of hell will complain that I chose the wrong person as my friend. I ask you, your circle of influence is a reflection of who you are. The people that you spend your time with outside of your family is a mirror image of who you are. And if you find individuals, like I said, who are more worried about your soul than their soul, you've done something. We live in an era where we count friendships, right? 300 followers on Twitter, for example. Right? We have virtual Facebook friends, which are in the hundreds, mashallah. But yet Imam Ali says, if you have one good friend in your life, you've done something. One friend. Because that friendship is at the soul level, not at the virtual level. At the soul level. Where now they're concerned about, like I said, your grave just as much as they're concerned about their grave. Where they pass by you and you're drowning and they'll jump in and they'll save you from drowning. Where if they feel like you've been slipping off the path, they pull you inside and say, you know what? I've been noticing a change in your behavior. It's vital, it's important that all of you understand that this deen is too precious to give away to people who don't care about the deen. Right? Especially some of you come from a very respected family, involved in a very involved community. I want to share with one hadith and we move towards Masa'ib. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And I'll say it one more time. I'm not here to break friendships. I'm not saying that call tonight and say, okay, you're dead to me, khulafis. No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying enjoy the hellfire. No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying there are ways to slowly akhlaqan move away from a destructive circle. Right? I especially don't want some of you to think, oh, but if I leave, then the circle will collapse. Whoa, wait a second. It's okay. Let that collapse and build back up. It's okay. Because sometimes, when you end up holding the building up, you collapse yourself sometimes. I've seen that too many times. The one voice of conscience gets so drowned every single time, he himself loses his voice after a while. The hadith is from Imam Muhammad Baqir alayhi salatu wasalam. Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And by the way, if you search online, there are pages and pages and pages of traditions from the Ahlul Bayt on friendship in Islam, on the circle of influence. If you need some, let me know. I can email you some hadiths. There are some beautiful, very powerful traditions. This is one of them. The fifth Imam says that you should never befriend or never include somebody in your circle who have these 5 qualities. Number 1, he says, is a liar. But then he gives beautiful reasons behind each one. It says a liar is an individual who is a mirage for you. He makes things that are invisible visible for you, and makes things that are visible invisible for you. Allahu Akbar. Sometimes, some of you try to do a good thing, some community service, some volunteering. Maybe you want to come to the center and attend the program because you've heard, a really good speaker from Toronto is here. Let's go see what he's about. Plus, he's, good looking. He's got a good voice, alhamdulillah. Very humble and very, yes. And you always have this one friend that says, it's too far. It's too cold. I'll pick you up. Let's go for a coffee. Let's relax. At that moment, Zainabia is visible to you. This person with one comment, one text, one phone call made Zainabia invisible to you. Or sometimes, God forbid, there are sins that you have convinced yourself, wallahi, I will never commit those sins. Small ones here and there maybe, but this one, that one, no way. No way. And it's invisible to you until you meet that friend of yours who makes that visible to you. That's the first one. Number two, he says, do not befriend a fool, a person who makes horrible decisions. Because while he thinks that he's benefiting you, he's actually harming you. Number three, I'll go quickly. Number three, he says, don't befriend a miser. They say kanjus in Urdu, right? Tangdas, they say in Farsi. Somebody who's, who's stingy, I guess. Because they will not give you your wealth when you need it the most. Imam Ali, alayhi salatu wasalam, says what? He says to give two things to three different groups of people. The very first thing he says, give to your brother your wealth and your blood, he says. Give to your brother your wealth and your blood. You have a friend of yours, and he's wealthy. We're talking about actual money wealth. But he's still stingy about it. He won't help you out when you need it. That's three, right? A liar, a fool, a miser. Number four, a person who disrespects his parents. You're at the person's house in front of you, raises his voice to his parents. If your mom comes inside the room and says, offer your friend a snack, or she brings a tray of snacks, popcorn and some juice, let's say, and maybe she can't knock, so she walks right in, oh, Mom, God, it's so embarrassing. Okay, Mom, thanks. That's how you talk to your mother, in front of your friend. Because the hadith says that if they have no regard for the respect of their parents, they have no regard for respect for you either. And the final one is the one who doesn't have spirituality. Because when you need them the most, they won't be there. They don't have the concept of sacrifice. Because with submission, with spirituality comes sacrifice. Right? Ask yourself how many friends you have right now that if you need them tomorrow, for sure they'll be there. You're looking around like, not you, not you, not you. Ask yourself. How many people can I turn to right now and dump my entire problems on? They won't judge me. They won't make it about themselves. They'll listen and they'll offer some help. If you have one, if you have two, if you have three, you're very, very lucky. But these are 5 qualities. So in this building of complete and absolute submission to Allah, it's vital that we surround ourselves with people who are equally submissive to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whether it's families at the level of the father or whether it's friends at the level of the youth. To the point where, like I said, I'll say three more times, Allah Himself says, I will take that responsibility on. Just don't sell your principles out. Don't silence that conscience inside of you. Don't tell yourself, I know it's haram, just close your eyes and do it, it's okay. Otherwise, they'll do what? They'll kick me out of the group. And then I'll be alone. And we have this fear of loneliness. But if we believe in this verse that says, Allah says, I will now place you and put you amongst circles that are amongst the salihin, then so be it. I don't care about this person. He's not worth my deen. Because the Prophet says that a circle of friendship is multiple bodies attached to one soul. Multiple bodies attached to one soul. It's impossible that if you're around a person who's destructive, they won't affect you. So I ask you, please surround yourself with the right families. Build your own community network around you, people who are pious, people who are like-minded. And to my youth out there, if you are in a destructive friendship, think twice about it. Is it worth my akhirat? Is it worth my deen in this dunya? If Allah has promised me that He will fix this for me, then you know what? I'm going to stand up and say, guys, I'm not doing this anymore. It's haram, I don't like it, I'm going to walk away. If that means I'm alone for a while till Allah figures out my circle, then so be it. But I'm not going to sell my soul out for the pleasure of the insan for 5 minutes. That same insan who loves you today, I'm sorry, will hate you tomorrow. But Allah's ridayat is without any condition. He's what? He's Ya Sari'ar Ridha. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. If you look at the community outside after the death of the Holy Prophet, because during his life, of course, it seemed like they were an ummah, a community. But they respected and loved Amir al-Mu'mineen and Sayyidah Fatima just like the Prophet of Allah did. But we know the treatment of these two individuals specifically after the death of the Holy Prophet shows us that communal atmosphere wasn't as strong as we thought it was. She would take Ali's hand and go door to door and say, were you not in Ghadir? Were you not in Ghadir? Were you not in Ghadir? How could you leave this man? He would come home. He would come home, Imam Ali, with a look on his face and say, the Fatima would know right away something happened. And she would ask him, Ali, did the people of Medina not say salam to you again today? The mazlumiyat of these two after the Holy Prophet. And he would look at her and say, Fatima, forget salam. I would say salam to them and they wouldn't reply to me. I would say salam to them, they wouldn't give jawab to me. They would come to the holy, to Imam Ali, says, Ali, she cries in the morning and she cries at night. She cries in the morning, she cries at night. It's affecting our children, it's affecting our sleep. Tell her, either you cry for her father in the morning or you cry for your father at night. She's disturbing the entire environment right now. So Imam Ali goes to Sayyidah Fatima and says, Fatima, the people are complaining you're crying too much for your father. Cry in the morning or cry at night. But she can't help herself. She was Ummi Abiha, she was so close to her father. Until the point came where Ali now has to construct this Baytul Hudhan, this place of sorrow, where Fatima, if you want to cry for your blessed father, go inside this Bayt and go and sit and cry. She wasn't allowed to cry for the death of her loved one. She wasn't allowed to cry for the death of her loved one. That was the mother in Medina, come to the daughter in Karbala. Where Zainab now is in the exact same situation. This journey from Karbala to Kufa, Kufa to Sham, wherever she saw the head of Imam Hussein, and tears would begin to form, and the sound of crying would come, there would be a lash. There would be a hit. There would be some sort of punishment. That's why when she eventually ended up at the grave of Abu Abdullah on the day of Arba'een, when Imam Sajjad says to Jabir, move to one side, my puppy Amma Zainab is coming forward for her ziyarah of her brother. She crawls towards the grave of Imam Hussein, sits at the head, begins to cry and cry and cry to the point where she collapses on the grave and says to Imam Hussein, Hey Bhaiya, my heart is filled with joy today. Why? For the first time since the day of Ashura, I could cry for you without somebody whipping me and lashing me. Fatima couldn't cry for her father. Zainab couldn't cry for her brother until that day of Arba'een. But Wal Mal'un narrates that I was with this qafila of the Bani Hashim from Karbala to Kufa, from Kufa to Sham, Sham back to Karbala, and back to Medina. I heard every cry of every child. I heard every cry of every woman. I saw every moment of grief that this qafla went through. But there was one cry that he says years after, one cry years after, that still haunts me at night today. What was that cry? Umar ibn Saad, in his dhulm upon dhulm, says to his leaders that this qafala, before you take them to Kufa and Sham, take them through the Maidan of Karbala. Let them see their loved ones one more time. Let them see their trampled bodies. Let them see the arrows upon arrows. Let them see the fact that they were beheaded. So this man Mal'un narrates that the qafla now was approaching the Maidan of Karbala. Imam Sajjad on one side, Sayyidah Zainab on one side. They approach body after body, body after body, until they approach a body that's been trampled by 10 different horses, until they approach a body, 200 plus scars from head to toe, until they approach a body that was beheaded. Bibi Zainab's eyes lie on that body, and the first question she asked when she looks at that body, Ya Allah, anta akhi, is this you, my brother? And she let out a shriek, a cry that this Mal'un says, that cry of Zainab's was a cry that haunts me until tonight. Imam Sajjad is sitting there at the head of this body. Bibi Zainab says, I'm looking at Imam Sajjad's face, turn colors in front of me. It looks as if almost that he's about to leave this world. She approaches Imam Sajjad, says, Sajjad, it's time to go to Kufa. Sajjad, it's time to go to Kufa. Imam Sajjad looks up to Bibi Zainab. Hey, Puppy Amma, tears rolling down his face. Have you ever seen... Have you ever seen a son that has left his father on the plains of Karbala unburied like I'm leaving my father? سيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. Fatimya Hussein.